I may have finally found my replacement for the Nike Sabrina 2s, and it might be with a line that I never thought I would actually come around to really loving, because I haven't liked the previous 6, even though I know that some people have. But this one right here feels amazing. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and breakdown on these potential bad boys right here. This is the Adidas D.O.N issue 7, the 7th model within the Donovan Mitchell signature series, and what feels like the best one yet. Now, before we get started, we did want to just remind you guys that if you were interested in supporting the WearTesters channel directly, outside of just liking, watching, and subscribing, and hopefully leaving a comment, you can go support our latest merch collab with Serious Player Only, where we have re-released some of the best socks in the game. Not only that, but they're available now in some brand new colorways, such as this amazing white and red, and this really awesome black and pink. And then we have a restock on some of our more popular ones, like the white and black, as well as the black and red. We've even got a crew cut option for those of you guys that like a slightly higher cut. And then there are 2 performance shirts available right now that simply state testing in progress, something that we do on the court all the time. So if you're interested, make sure that you head over to SeriousPlayerOnly.com. You can also check a link down below in the description box. And with that being said, the box on these guys is pretty plain, just black and red, nothing really crazy. It does say trust your game on the exterior, and then you can still see a little bit of that Spider logo, Spider. You know what I mean? Because it's Spider Mitchell. I do wonder if they're going to make a Spider-Man version of these, because they have before, but we'll see. Although I don't remember, did they do that with the last one, the 6? I can't remember. The gummy bear pack is the thing that sticks out in my mind the most. But either way, I personally love this colorway, and I did not think that they looked very good online, to be perfectly blunt. But when I saw them in person, I was like, these are kind of cool. Like, they remind me just a little bit, not perfectly, but just a little bit, of the Nike Kobe 8 Easters. Now, these are fairly similar to the issue 6s. However, the things that they've tweaked on these just make them feel a lot better, at least in my opinion, especially from a first impression and try-on standpoint. I know that a lot of people love the D.O.N issue 6, and I think that that's awesome. I personally didn't. I thought that they were a little clunky and slappy, even though they used Light Strike Pro and all that stuff. It just, for whatever reason, felt dense. It just did not feel like it does in their running category. Not that I want exactly that in their basketball stuff, but when you think of Light Strike Pro, you think comfort, and I just didn't get that out of those. And on top of all of that, they had a ginormous plate in the shoe that extended into the forefoot, and it restricted flexibility. That's something that I just personally can't stand anymore. Like, I just don't like having any type of restriction in the flex area of the forefoot. For some reason, it makes my legs feel like I'm carrying dead weight, and so if it's not an isolated midfoot plate, like, I'm not with it. Now, one of the things that does feel fairly similar is the traction, and the traction on the issue 6 was actually really good. To me, it was one of its highlights. So having something fairly similar on the issue 7, I do think is a good move. This traction, however, is very shallow. So if you're looking to buy these and then take them outside, I would probably reconsider, at least if you're looking to buy these brand new and then take them directly outside. Obviously, if this is your old shoe, like say your issue 6, and you're just now upgrading to the issue 7, I would take the issue 6 outdoors and not have a problem with it. But yeah, spending retail on these and then just taking them outside, I think is kind of crazy. But they're also not very expensive, so I can see some people wanting to try that. Just know that if you do, they're not going to be super durable. Indoors, however, I do have the utmost confidence in these. A lot of radial patterns that you like see here in the forefoot just work extremely well. You also have a couple of different zones in the lateral and medial sides. So basically for like toe offs and stoppages and things like that. So I think that this is going to be great. Shifty players should love it. Linear players should love it too. This is a good move. Now at the midfoot, there is a plate. It's just doesn't feel like it extends all the way into the forefoot like last year's model. Unfortunately, it's still this faux carbon fiber stuff. I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, I would just prefer just plastic. I don't need this like graphic in there, but you know, it is what it is. It's not actual carbon fiber, but again, it looks like it. I will say that it's very soft and gummy on the sidewalls and stuff. It's enough to keep you like locked onto the footbed during harsh lateral moves, but I was expecting a little bit more sturdiness. However, if it was a little sturdier, it might dig into your foot and stuff, so I can see why they did this. At the midfoot itself, it does feel sturdy, so I think that that's going to be fine. It doesn't allow for too much over twisting, and like I said, it doesn't feel like anything is extending in the forefoot, so I got a lot more flex in this area right here, which is making me already feel like I said, just from a try on, I was like, yo, these feel awesome. Like, I cannot wait to lace these up. And then the cushion is also carried over from the 6. However, this one feels way different. It still feels like a dual density setup. So last year there was kind of like an EVA carrier, and then the Light Strike Pro was inside of it. For whatever reason, I just couldn't feel it. It just felt dense and slappy. This one feels super bouncy and fluffy almost, you know what I mean? Like it's very interesting. I could really feel it. It doesn't feel too much like the running stuff, because that stuff, like long-term use, does cut my legs too. It like stresses the ligaments and the muscles out. So this one feels like it's got a EVA carrier, but you can actually see the Light Strike Pro poking through the outsole right here. So it's exposed in the heel as well as in the forefoot. It's that kind of like bright lime green, at least on this particular colorway. And yeah, I think that this is going to be awesome. Again, they feel like they're like super comfortable and semi-plush, but with court feel. So kind of like the Sabrina 2s, but with a little bit more cushion. Because when I'm playing in those, I feel like I'm like on the floor. This, I definitely don't feel like that, but maybe I will once in motion. But so far, it just feels a little different and, dare I say, slightly better.
That's high praise.
Now the upper on these feels way nicer than last year's. Last year's was a textile with some hot melt areas like the toe and the eye stay and things like that. This one, first off, just visually, like I personally love this. These look fucking dope. I love with zippers. Okay, so if you got a zip up enclosure, you've already won me over a little bit, and as long as it fits and doesn't burst open, then you've won me over completely. But anyways, the overall shell of the shoe, the part that has all this like crazy gradient coloring on it, is a very nice micro mesh. It feels like premium for it being a textile. So the materials here are just fantastic, and these are not my type of materials either. I prefer leathers, suedes, nubucks, all that kind of shit. But this, when we're talking about in the realm of what they are, like this is as good as it gets. I'm surprised that these are priced the way that they are. And on top of that, they've added a couple of extra things. So on the toe area, instead of having a full-on like plastic, what's called hot melt, or what we call fuse, instead of having a fuse rand like that, instead they have this like rubberized section. You can barely see it. It almost looks like a grid. It just adds some texture and a little bit of depth to it. So instead of it feeling super flat, it feels like there's stuff there. You know what I mean? Like even though it's not a panel, it feels like a panel. And it just looks great. So I like that. The 3 stripes logo is kind of like interesting too. It's just a bunch of dots and you can like feel them. Whoever designed these, man, you killed it. Like these are awesome. The zip up enclosure does feel like a standard Lycra system, so it doesn't feel like too crazy or anything like that. It almost feels like neoprene, but not quite. Still got a little bit of give to it. And I just like the way that they've implemented color into it. So the little like zip up holding thing, it's bright ass pink. It's sick, dude. Like this is dope. Inside the shoe is fairly basic. So this is where if you love the issue 6s, you're probably gonna love this too. It's a lot of textiles. It's a lot of nylon. It's a lot of like nylon cables that go all the way down to the footbed. You can't see it or anything because obviously it's enclosed, but it is in there. And it feels really good. They felt fine as they were. They came kind of like laced not all the way up to the top, but there's an extra eyelet in here that's a nylon loop that goes all the way into the heel of the shoe. So if you're having any like potential heel slip issues, that should alleviate that problem. However, as long as you get them like in your actual size, that shouldn't happen anyways. On top of all of that, inside of this thing is like extremely structured. It's fucking crazy. There are 4 Achilles notches in this thing. So there's the 2 typical ones right in the rear, but then they've got 2 additional ones on the medial and lateral side that just kind of cup the entire heel and ankle area of your foot, man. It's fucking wild. They've even added similar stuff to the top of the tongue just in case you need it to alleviate any type of lace pressure and all of that stuff. And that's something that I thought was really interesting too, is that the logo at the tip of the tongue is done up really well, but once you lace it up, it actually kind of covers that thing. However, you can untuck this thing and then put your laces underneath it. It's dope. And I also love that the tongue is like shaped to go around your ankle. It reminds me of like the D.O.N. So yeah, I dig it. Now the insole is this guy right here. It's standard Adidas piece of shit. If you like those things, cool, leave it in there. If you don't and you want something additional, you can swap it out for anything else that you'd like, whether that be an orthotic, a move insole, the Aris carbon spring plate insole. Options are plentiful. And again, this is a shoe that doesn't quite break the bank. Like I'm not gonna say that they're like super cheap or anything, but they're definitely in that more affordable range of pricing. So if you wanted to grab these and then upgrade them a little bit, even though I don't feel like they truly need it, then you can. Now in terms of sizing, they do fit true to size. They are very true to size, by the way. So some people may want to go up half a size depending on like the type of socks that you wear, or depending on whether or not you have a wide foot. But most people, true to size, you should be good to go. Now with all that being said, do we happen to have time for a user submitted question of the day? I know this was kind of a long one.
Would you rather wear shoes with no socks or socks with flip-flops?
I'm not wearing shoes with no socks. That's gross.
So you're gonna...
I'm going flip-flop and socking it. Can I wear like toe socks? What? It says that?
I'm saying that.
Why?
Because...
they make socks for stuff like that now.
I know, but we're just gonna say, hey.
I've even seen Ninja Turtle socks.
No,
like where it's just the big toe?
These are gonna be like crappy socks that don't quite fit your feet.
I'm still going that. I can't wear this with no socks. You know how sweaty that would be? That would be so gross. Just the feeling of that. Ugh. You?
I guess that's how I'd go. It depends. How often do I get new shoes out of it?
That's not the parameter. Answer the question. Now you're sounding like me, trying to weasel your way out of shit. Sorry.
All right.
But you're sticking with my answer?
Yeah.
But what about you guys? Sound off below and let us know. On top of all of that, do you have the D.O.N issue 7s? If you do, have you played in them yet? If you have, do you feel like this feels like it could be one of the best basketball shoes of the year, man? They feel great. I'm super excited to play in them. I actually start playing in them tonight, so it's gonna be awesome. And stay tuned for a potential performance review. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch y'all in the next one. So until then, you guys have a good one.